Welcome to our program, Coach-to-Coach. Today's guest is Shelagh O-Grady. After a long and successful business and accounting career, Shelagh is now a CLARITY Practitioner. Shelagh and I met while in Jamie Smart's CLARITY Coach certification training, and we've spent many hours training and coaching together. Thank you for joining us today, Shelagh. It's so nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Greg. Yeah, lovely to see you too.
My pleasure. Thank you. So the way I like to start these things is to ask, what first sparked your interest in coaching?
Yeah, interesting question, because when I look back, I possibly was coaching before I even knew I was coaching. Just the way my probably leadership and development style was with my teams, but wouldn't have thought it was at the time. But a big thing that I liked to do was see the potential in team members and help to bring that out of them. And I think in a big way, to me, that's what coaching's about anyway. And after I left the company I worked with for 20 years before I took redundancy, I actually then did work as a for Weight Watchers as a coach for a while. And seeing those transformations that people had on their journey, and you could see it was just so much more about the number on the scale. And I just got more and more into thinking this was something I'd like to do, and looked at it more seriously, because I suppose I kind of fell into it without really thinking, oh, I want to be a coach. I kind of started being one, if that made sense. And then
well, the picture I have in my mind is like these breadcrumbs, and you're following along and you're coaching people at work. And the thing that occurred to me when you said how you liked helping people tap into their potential, or however you worded it, the thing that occurred to me there was, I suspect they enjoyed it too. Like it's, I'm sure people responded to your presence and your connection and your just natural way of being. And what you've described is how coaching has just kind of come to you naturally. And then you follow these breadcrumbs along. And then you wake up one morning and go, oh my God, I'm on a coach training program. That's great.
It is a little bit like that as well, because even when I was doing my first CLARITY certification training course with Jamie, I was still doing that from thinking I was doing it for me, not that I was doing it to get something to take out into the world as such, other than the ripple out effects of the people who met me in life or whatever. So it is kind of, even then, doing a course which was, people were, coaches. I was still thinking I wasn't a coach, which is a bit weird.
It's so interesting that you say that, because there's a lot of people on these programs who are doing it for their own personal growth and development. And I kind of had the opposite experience. I was doing it not so much for the coaching as much as when I started, it was, I was thinking of doing like consulting. So it was like, how do you get clients? How do you enroll clients? How do you make a connection and impact on clients? That's what I thought I was doing it for. And it turned out for me, it was much more about my own personal growth and development. Like the transformation in my own life in the last 2 years has been incredible. So it's interesting how these things tend to work out.
Yeah. I love as well that a lot of us have been on the journey together for a number of years, because seeing the difference in the people that you're on these courses with and how they're changing is so inspiring in itself. You notice that possibly before you even notice yourself changing, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. That occurred to me the other day. I went back and I was watching our CCT recordings, and when you're watching various people getting coached and stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, like, and you can tell it's like, that's that person, but that's the old version of that person. Like, it's very distinct. So yeah, I love that. So speaking of coaching, tell us about your coaching practice, how you're working, who you're helping, what kind of areas you're coaching in.
Yeah, so at the moment, I've been working with people on a one-to-one basis. helping people get clarity around issues that they see or problems that they see, but from a understanding of, from a quieter mind, they can see what's really going on for them and the possibilities, so that I've seen so much how the greatest and most lasting change for people is when they slow down enough with their life to realise how they're creating their own experience from within, and they can see that the answers that they're looking for aren't actually in the problems that they're looking at. Once you step back and look a bit further upstream, things become clear to them, and the right action to take or the right thing to do becomes possible. And it's lovely to work with people to see how at the beginning of, say, a 6 months, you would say to them, you know, what would you like? What do you think would be possible for you within the next 6 months? What would be a beautiful thing to have happened by the end? And they'll go, oh, 6 months isn't enough. Or I want to, I don't know, change my career, or I want to sell my business and do something completely different. And they go, but that's not possible. And the beauty of it is that within a month, most of the things that they've said they couldn't do within 6 months, they've already got in action. It's already working, some of the things that look so big and huge to them. And that is just from getting to that quieter space whereby instead of worrying about the problem and thinking, I can't do that, they're looking at, oh, that's possible, I can do that. And it's realizing that what looks like a huge problem, when you step back, there's little steps you can take along the way to get there, but you just don't see it when you see this. No, there's no way. That's a lovely idea that I could be there in 6 months, but no.
Yeah. I love the way you described like the stepping back, because it is like it's a new perspective that when when their problems are right up close and on their face, that's all they can see. And I don't know, I always have this vision of kind of like holding them by the hand and saying, just like, come with me for a second, let's just go back here ways and look at it from a quieter mind and from a distance, and it doesn't seem so scary, and then you have a much wider view to what's possible as well. I mean, I think the marketer in me is kind of like, if you had to put a coin of phrase to sum up what you just said, it's something along the lines of making the impossible possible. Like, that's what coaching does. It can be quite huge.
Yeah,
that's cool. Do you have any specific examples of how you've helped a client or how coaching has helped you that you could share with us, just to give us a taste for what's possible?
Yeah, it's I think what's beautiful for people who actually do coach as well is that a coaching experience, working with somebody and listening to them talk about their life and their problems and laying it out in front of you as such as they lay it out in front of themselves, because that's where I see it, that like it might be the first time we've said something and you don't really see it till you say it out loud, do you? Or somebody reflects it back at you, or that way. And I personally can learn and grow so much from just listening to other people talk about their problems and seeing the similarities in me. And when I get caught up in the same things, and then you kind of, oh, wow, yeah. Me, it's kind of, it's like, yeah, I can see. And from the breakthrough that you see for yourself, it then helps them as you both interact with it. And it's hard to put to put words on it sometimes, because the biggest change for me is I've refound that lightness of life more often, that I knew was there, but at times I was letting it get really heavy and not knowing why. Sometimes life felt heavier than at other times. And seeing how I am creating my own experience from within, and it's those old rules and ideas about who I am and how I should behave and what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. And yeah, I think for me, actually, the big thing was having to fit in the world, or thinking that I needed to change myself in some way, whether that was make myself smaller or get another qualification, or, you know, to fit in the world, and realizing that was all created. It was all my ideas about the world and who I needed to be to have a better experience of life, or to be acknowledged or invited along, and really it's seeing that we're all welcome exactly as we are. And the more we realize that and just show up as we are, without worrying about how we should be and what I'm doing and what other people may or may not be thinking, the more you're just authentically you, people want to be around you more, because you're not being awkward. You're not making them feel uncomfortable, because you're so comfortable in your own skin that that it just helps other people be comfortable in their own skin too, and just be them. And it's so, when I look at it, so obvious, but it wasn't obviously obvious before. At the times when I was getting myself all worked up. And I think that the lightness of life is just a huge thing for me, I think.
From what you've just described, the word that's coming to my mind is subtractive psychology. It's all the thing that's getting in your way is all that contaminated thinking. You don't have to get another qualification or do this or do that. It's funny. I was in a program on the weekend, and I was using this phrase, letting go. And the gentleman that was coaching with me, he switched around. He said, what if you just let it be instead of letting it go? Because letting it go still had this kind of action-oriented kind of vibe to it. And it's amazing, like changing GO to BE, like such a simple 2-letter word, and the feeling of the whole thing completely changed. And I don't know, I can't tell you, like, just letting things be rather than letting them go has made a huge difference to me. This just happened last weekend, so it's only a few days old, but I've already experienced a big shift this week with things just like that, which is amazing. I also loved what you talked about in terms of the benefit of coaching, just watching other people being coached. I used to call it like third-party coaching. Like you don't even have to be an active participant in the coaching, and you can gain, because I think when you're watching somebody else get coached, because it's not you, your defenses are down a little bit and you're more open. And what happens is, when your shields are down, you're allowing insights, you're creating space and opportunity for insights to flood in. And I've experienced that, even when the thing that's being talked about isn't even closely related to the thing that I'm dealing with. Like, it could be a completely different subject, but it's, again, pointing to possibility, pointing upstream, all those things. It's so universal. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I also think that sometimes it's when possibly something's got nothing to do with your issue that you see something about your own, because you're so taken off guard.
Yeah.
And your whole inner landscape, or in a database, as I like to call it, all just shifts around all on its own, doesn't it? It's,
yeah.
And you just see the world so different. I think that's beautiful. That's lovely. Yeah. It's funny actually, because I'd for some reason written down this morning, just this thought came to me, and I put, and it's just written there, it's not about the actions, it's who you're being when you take the actions. Because I know I can get so caught up in thinking, but I'm doing the right thing. But it's how you're feeling and thinking, and the reason behind it, isn't it? Always makes such a huge difference. The energy that comes through with the action, isn't it? Not just the action. But that's like actions are just happening without you thinking you're having to do something to do the action. We put an extra step in sometimes, don't we? There's something to do, but it's take the action. Yeah.
I love it. It's funny. I just I'm running a course, and I came up with an equation. So it's P equals, and then in brackets, T times E minus D, all to the exponent of S. So it's productivity equals time times effort minus distractions, all to the power of your state of mind. So what you said is, who you're being is basically analogous to that state of mind. So you can be grinding away time and effort and eliminating distractions, but if you're not in a good state of mind, if who you're being is a scatterbrain, for lack of a better phrase, you're not going to be very productive. But if you could spend less time and effort but be in clarity, and you'll be way more productive. So, and productive both in terms of quantity and quality of what you're producing. So it's funny how, like, we all have our own words or equations or takes on it, but when you boil it all down, we're pointing to basically the same stuff. So
definitely.
I love it.
I like that. It's like from a productivity and time management thing, what I think is huge about this is when I think back to when I was studying for my professional exams, so I was working at the same time and then studying at weekends and evenings and stuff. And when I think back about how much time I wasted thinking, I don't want to do this, I shouldn't be doing this, I could be doing something else. When I could have just been studying. And I wasn't. I was using the time or making a plan of when I was going to study rather than just studying. And luckily, I did used to fall into, like, say, periods of 20 minutes where I'd just like work. And I could learn and practice so much in those 20 minutes of just falling into it. And yet I probably had a 2-hour span of time where I'd wasted most of it, but maybe I had a 20-minute piece that was productive. And I just look back and think, it's bonkers, really, that a lot of time could be saved by not getting up in our heads. And that work goes for, like, doing a report at work or whatever, if you've been asked to produce a forecast or whatever. Without even knowing it, because I wouldn't have even realised it. I bet a lot of my time was taken up thinking about what somebody was going to think about what I was writing and whether it was going to make sense, rather than just doing it and getting on and writing the report. And it can't just be me. It's got it's got to be that's got to be people out there not even recognising the time they're spending on stuff that's just not productive at all.
My flavor of that is, like, I'd get an invite to a meeting with my boss tomorrow morning, and I'd spend the whole day worrying, what's this meeting about? Going through my numbers, like, okay, what trying to figure out and have all my bases covered, and then just go in there and 99 times out of 100, what the meeting was actually about had nothing to do with any of the things I had thought about. Literally, I literally wasted my whole day and my whole night not sleeping, and it was nothing. So yeah, I think we all get caught up in stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my only, from an exam point of view, my saving grace was that, and I didn't realize till she came across as understanding, but when I did an exam, I actually enjoyed doing exams. I didn't like the work to them, but the exam itself, I actually enjoyed doing, which I always thought was a bit, because I didn't hear many people say that.
Yeah.
And it's because I used to just get in that feeling of it's just me and the exam paper, nothing else, everything else was shut out. And I'd read the questions, calculate how much time you should spend on each one, and go through and see which one to choose, because obviously there'd be like a choice of different ones. What subjects do I know anything about or whatever? And I think I passed my exams not through how much I learned, because as I said, I spent a lot of time not studying rather than studying, just because I was in that space of letting it flow through me what I did know, rather than blocking it with worried about what I didn't know. And that just came naturally for me to do. And I put down my success in any of my exams down to that ability to just be in flow in an exam.
Yeah. And that's the amazing part, is that superpower is available to everybody.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, if there's one thing you would want people to know, Sheila, what would that be?
The one thing is how resilient they are naturally. And that realizing that those feelings that we don't like, that we don't want, that make us feel really bad, that in some moments feel like we're never going to survive them, and because we get caught up in the thinking this is going to last forever and this has lasted forever. Realizing that that's been created from within, that helps realizing the resilience that we've got, that as bad as it might feel in this moment, it will move on, it will change, and we won't be damaged by it. We'll be fine. And I'm obviously talking about psychologically now. Obviously my body can be damaged, but if people are anything like me, most things in life that I get caught up in and worry about have got nothing to do with my physical safety or anything. It's mostly about my idea of me and what people are going to think, or how I'm going to be embarrassed or shamed or whatever else. And it's seeing through that we are so resilient that can't hurt us at all. Yes, we get caught up. Yes, we have bad days, bad hours, but we also have an awful lot of beauty out there in the world that we forget about when we're caught up in these moments. And it's that resilience. It's that the ability to just come back after we felt so bad. So yeah, it's our resilience. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. I can almost hear Jamie's voice in the back of my head saying, we're built for reality. We're optimized for reality.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks for doing this, Sheila. How can people get in touch with you if they're interested in learning more about you or getting in contact with you?
Okay, so you can find me on LinkedIn under Shelagh O-Grady, and it's spelled SHELAGH-O''Grady. I'm spelling the Sheila because it's the Irish way and some people might not know. Or alternatively at coachingplease.com/Shelagh O-Grady, spelled as previously said on LinkedIn. So thank you.
And I'll put the links in the video. Cool. Well, thanks so much, Sheila. And I will say the Irish way is probably the right way to do it. So,
thank you.
yeah. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Really appreciated your time, and good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. That was lovely. Thank you.
Thanks.